Welcome to the Real Estate 401k Show. Here are your hosts, Ryan Gertis, Mike Weinstein, and Justin Frederick, helping you build a legacy of wealth through real estate. Powered by the Recon Group at West USA and the Frederick team with Fairway Mortgage. NMLS number 625918.
You know, one of the things that you learn about real estate, especially the home buying process, is it is completely different in every state that you go to, whether attorneys are typically involved in escrow and title company and the process. And so many times we get buyers from out of state. They come into town and they're like, I know everything. I know everything about buying and so forth. And we have to explain it. It's not necessarily the same. So we are obviously real estate wealth managers, and Justin is our loan officer. We're here in the great state of Arizona. And so one of the things that we have put together is a free book for all of our listeners, all of our followers, that explains the entire home buying process here in Arizona. And a lot of it's the same, no matter whatever state that you're in or whatever state that you're from. But Arizona's got its own little, just nuances to buying a home. And so we wanted to, give an opportunity for all of our followers to get a copy of our free book. It is called Your Personal Guide to Buying a Home. And whether you're buying your first home, buying your fifth home, it's always just a good refresher of understanding what that home process looks like, Ryan.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll continue to talk about what the process is like, no matter where we are. And I've found that it's best to not just hammer you with everything all at once during the actual process. So having the book is not going. You're not going to be an expert in real estate by the time you're done with this. There's just too many things that are involved. There's too much history. There's nuances. There's culture. There's market conditions. There's bank market conditions. There's all those fun things. But it's just kind of one of those things. We tried to keep it as vanilla as possible and answer some of those blanket statements. So, I mean, every single state out there, you need to have a contract. So, what are the bare necessities of a contract? So it's going to dial down what that is. It's more than just price, right? Everyone thinks, okay, well, what are we going to offer? And everyone just gets hung up on the number. The reality is that most deals and negotiations are won or lost on the terms, not just the price. And so what are those terms? What do those terms consist of? Close of escrow is a big one. Everyone knows if they bought a home 18 months ago that we were trying to streamline processes as much as possible because it was such a seller's market, right? And so the biggest negotiating factor was, hey, we can close fast, but then also throwing in post-possessions. Now, I don't want to go into every single little nuance that's involved there, but it's going to give you an idea so that when we do use words like post-possession, or we do use the word close of escrow, or
Right.
we do use the word earnest money, you're not sitting there, with a dunce hat on thinking, what the hell are they talking about?
Yeah, and if you do want to get a copy of the free book, we'll get it to you. All you got to do is text the word book to 623AZ-RECON. That's 623AZ-RECON. Oftentimes, Justin, people get a little intimidated. A lot of people don't even read books anymore.
Yeah.
And they get intimidated. Oh my gosh, how big is this book? And how long is it going to take me to get through it? But when Ryan and I sat down and put together the book, we thought, who is our target audience? And we came up with you, and that's why it is written in at the third to
Second
fourth grade level, right?
Yeah.
For you.
Is there
specifically.
pop-ups in it?
Yeah, scratch and
Thank
snip
you.
towards the back.
Yes. That will get me through the book. It'll keep my attention on the book.
But on the lending side, how helpful is this book? What are some of the common questions or common misunderstandings that inexperienced buyers have, and how does this come along and serve as a guide?
Well, I think, number one, I feel like people don't even know that they have a close of escrow date.
Or what it is.
Or what it is. They're like, well, when are we getting this house? Well, there's a date on your contract, and it's simple to us because we deal with it every day, but the common customer doesn't know what that looks like. So close of escrow, what is escrow? What's a title company? Why do we need a title company? Why do we need a loan? Why do we need insurance? Why do we need to be pre-qualified?
Why do we need a home inspection? What is a home inspection?
Correct.
When does that occur?
There's a lot of information that you don't deal with on a daily basis that this book will really help you to understand just the common basic points of buying a home, and it won't make you so stressed out.
Yeah, all of us, for good or for worse, have children at home. And, one of the things about buying a home, for starters, can be one of the most stressful experience that a couple or a buyer goes through, but it doesn't have to be. And when you understand the process, when you understand what you're getting yourself into and what's all involved, it relieves so much of the stress. And I remember when my wife became pregnant with our first, it was that, what was that, what to expect when you were expecting. And I couldn't imagine, especially for her, going into the 9 months of pregnancy, not knowing like what is going on with my body, and I'm looking at her body going, what is going on with that body, right? And she wants me to stick my ear and listen for the sounds of my kid. I don't know whether they're supposed to be reciting poetry.
And we all lie and act like we can hear something when we.
No, we all lie and act like we were excited about it, right? But it was, and then she even made me start reading it. And that's when we realized I'm not a strong reader, but it was just the conversations of and it was cool. It was cool. Understand like what's going on in month 1, month 2, month 3, and in a lot of ways, Ryan, that is what our book, Your Personal Guide to Buying a Home, really is all about for the home buying process.
Well, I agree with you, but to expound on that, I don't think that I could read every single book out there about what to expect when you're expecting, or the home buying process, or the home selling process, or investing in real estate for dummies, or all the things that are out there. You're never going to really know. Just like you never really know what to expect after baby comes, right? And you're like,
there is no book for that.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So I'm a dad now, or I'm a homeowner now, or I'm under contract now, or I'm pre-qualified now. What does that feel like, right? So for me, one of the biggest pros of having this in hand is just kind of initiating those questions. If you don't know what you don't know, then you're either not asking questions or you're kind of asking dumb ones. This will help kind of streamline that. And I know that there's a lot of people out there, they have the whole, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Well,
I've got teenagers. That's not true. I hear dumb questions all the time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm a bit of a cynic, and so the reality is there are some dumb questions out there, and so it's not that I'm afraid to answer them. What I'm saying is that before I ask questions, I'm going to put together a little bit of research. Hell, I'll even Google it, right, and try to figure out what's going on first, and then from there, if something's not adding up or I'm not processing it right, then I go and I talk to an expert, right? And that's essentially what we're doing here. Is it's prompting you to start having more intelligent conversations, start asking better questions about the process, and then you're going to start seeing how there's all these different pieces of the puzzle out there. Because you're like, well, how the heck it sounds like it takes kind of an act of God just to buy one home. I mean, I'm going to give up my firstborn child. I'm going to give hair samples in order to get through the pre-qual process. And now they're going to give me enough money to buy 2 of them. How the heck? Right?
Where are they going to get the hair samples from you?
Well, that's how many homes I have, buddy.
We're talking a lot, just kind of on a personal level, going back to, having a child. What was the first thing? Because I know exactly what went through my mind when the doctors handed me our firstborn, and then the doctors and the nurse walk out. I'm looking around going, okay, 2 things are going through my head. Number 1, what the hell do I do with this thing? And number 2, I hope I don't drop it, because I can't eat dinner without dropping a fork.
Man, I literally was like, I hope I don't break this thing. I need to make it live. Like, how do I make this live? Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen movies and stuff where people are taking. I didn't know. When do I feed it?
You are on the path to great fatherhood right there. My only goal is to keep you alive, not break you.
And if you're just now tuning in, the metaphor is these babies are our homes, right? And so how fragile is the home buying process? How fragile is the home ownership process? How fragile is the investment process? Because, you can make some mistakes that will forever affect the either the contract or the home ownership or the investment that how it affects your portfolio. It's easy to take some wrong turns. It's easy to listen to some of the narrative out there and kind of get scared of your own shadow. It's easy to latch on to negative behavior, and I'm not saying that negative negative outlooks or negative thoughts about what's going to happen in the market aren't true. Of course, we've seen some bad things happen in the market. I don't live in Neptune, right?
Yeah.
Like we're down here in the real world, but it's just understanding what those key market indicators are, because once you have those pieces of the puzzle from the book that we're putting out there and the conversation and the back and forth, then you're going to say, okay, well, this is something I really need to pay attention to, and then this isn't so much, right? Because it was great. The first time I had a baby, the nurse walked in, Christine and I, and we were both scared out of our mind. And she said, "Look, if you teach this baby to walk on its head, it's, from the get-go, it's going to think that that's what's normal, right? So you're not going to mess anything up. just go over there and use common sense."
Well, unfortunately, I think society will be the ultimate judge of that. But we do want to get you a copy of our free book. It is called Your Personal Guide to Buying a Home. All you got to do is break out your phone and text the word book to 623-AZ-RECON. That's 623-AZ-RECON. I want to delve into a little bit about our role. You take the book, and you now have this knowledge of the home buying process. But then who is going to be the coach? Who is going to be that guide? Who is going to help you through the process? Because there's no book that's going to prepare you for every element of buying a home, especially all the things that go on when it comes down to negotiating. And I remember going back to the metaphor of when my son was born. So in walks this doctor. His name is Dr. Speakerman, still an incredibly great friend of mine to this day. And he walks in, he goes, "All right," he goes, "I'm your new pediatrician." I'm like, there was no choice, there was no option, there was no menu, there was no directory. And we're so caught up in the fact that we got this bundle of joy. Like, it never even occurred to us to Google him, to do some research. I mean, he walked in the room like he owned it, like he belonged there.
I respect that.
Yeah.
But it turns out, I mean, he is one of the top pediatricians in the nation, and we really hit the jackpot. And I say all that because, buying a home is one of the most important financial decisions that you will make in your entire life. And it perplexes me on the amount of buyers and sellers, I should say, for that matter, that just don't do their homework on their real estate professional, their real estate agent, and understand their background. I've never, 20 some odd years doing this, no one's ever asked me, how long have I had my license? How many homes have I sold? And I think it's imperative. And so I say all that because for us, that I think is the X factor that we bring to the table is, one, our experience, two, we are all investors ourselves, and three, we understand that this is just not a home. This is a retirement vehicle.
I think that's reflective of leadership qualities. I know that when I first started off in the business, it was very much so, okay, I'm going to go talk to everybody and just inquire whether or not they want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate.
You know what my two qualifications were for every buyer when I got started? Do you have a pulse, and do you have a FICO score? That you're hopping in the back seat of the car.
Because we were oblivious, and
Yeah.
we were very much sheep the way that we were running our business. And you grow and you learn, and
Well, I think you're desperate too. You're trying to start a business, and you think that everybody can qualify.
you
for
watch
a
Glenn
house.
Gary, Glenn Ross,
Right.
you're like, that's the way that it works, right? And it's
You
just
sign these
not.
documents, we're good.
Right. And so I do walk into a lot of situations where, you know what, you're not really interviewing me. I'm interviewing you, because I'm going to decide whether or not I want to spend my time with you. And I'm not trying to have some type of complex where I'm holier than thou, but at the end of the day, I'm not for everybody. But I do know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah. Oh, and I would say, I think absolutely, without being so blunt, but I guess we'll be blunt, we know what we're doing. We are not only professionals, but we are experts at what we do. And we've put together a free book to help guide you through that home buying process. It's available to anyone and everybody if you'd like it. All you got to do is pick up your phone and text the word book to 623-AZ-RECON. Again, that's 623-AZ-RECON.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate 401k Show. If you want more information on how to build wealth, click on the link or text us at 623-297-3266. That's 623-AZ-RECON.